touchdowns in the first half. My goodness gracious. Here he is post-game.
One game at a time. You don't win a Super Bowl, get into the playoffs with 3 games, and I think this team understands that. Like I said, we'll watch this film and put this behind us as quickly as we can. And like I said, we have a really good team that we're going into, and we got to be ready.
Check in on LeBron James, who I took to Twitter saying, I really like watching Josh Allen play football, a little football.
He's always had a little Magic Johnson in him.
A little bit.
That's exactly what I thought.
Do the Bills look like the best team in football?
Okay, so everybody knows I believe the best team in football is the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
I also think people think they know what I'm going to do today. Brew was looking around for people awaiting
Absolutely.
a September Champs banner
sent it to
be dropped on their head, or for a roller coaster graphic to pop up. And that's because people incorrectly think I'm a Buffalo Bills hater. I am not a Bills hater.
Okay.
I am a Bills soothsayer.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
I have been correct when everyone else has been wrong. And that includes this year when everyone at this desk, save me, picked someone else to win the Bills division. When everyone in the national media said, Bills are going to be taking a step back this year. And I said, wait a moment. And so today is not a day where I am going to do the usual tricks for a usually overrated Bills team, because that's not what I think we have at hand. Instead, I'm going to tell a very quick story about a football team and see if it reminds you of anything. A legitimate Super Bowl contender that never gets blown out, ever. And then, in their biggest game of the season in the playoffs, gets rolled by multiple scores. Comes back the next year even better, thinking, all right, this is going to be the year we make up for that. And then in a home playoff game to an arch rival, loses by 3 points in heartbreaking fashion. That offseason, trades away their best player, the media cools on them, and that superstar quarterback responds by winning the MVP, by the team leading the league in points, and winning the Super Bowl. I just told the story of the 2020 to 2022 Kansas City Chiefs, and maybe the 2022 to 2024 Buffalo Bills.
Wow.
Now, I do not think that the Bills are going to beat the Chiefs come playoff time. I do think that I would like to amend what I said yesterday, that there's only one good team in the league. I think there's 2.
Oh.
And I think that it is not an overreaction to say the Bills look like one of the 2 best teams in the league. It is not an overreaction to say they have clearly right now the 2nd best quarterback in football. And much like when the Chiefs traded away Tyreek Hill, coming off back-to-back devastating playoff losses, a blowout in the Super Bowl, heartbreaker to Cincinnati, and the Bills trade away Stephon Diggs, coming off getting blown out by the Bengals, and a heartbreaker to Kansas City. Sometimes a great player at that position can raise the water of everyone else. So I'm not going to mock the Bills or drop banners, because they are not mockable or banner worthy. This is an excellent team that just put it on a team that we'll discuss later in the show. So that's my answer.
That was solid. That was solid. That was very mature and cogent.
That's all I've ever done to the Bills.
And
Mature,
unusual
cogent, accurate analysis.
Shocking.
No, look, until the Chiefs get beat, everybody's going to assume, I don't care if they're 10-3, 10-4, whatever at some point, they're going to assume that's the best team, fine. Right now, the Bills look like the best team in football. And we know the Chiefs haven't been incredibly impressive. I know they played a tough schedule, but they haven't blown anybody out. The Bills look like the best. The main problem with, and you brought up the roller coaster, we really couldn't do it this year yet with Josh Allen, even though game 2 he didn't have great stats, but they rolled, so he didn't really need to do much. He his main problem was the reckless, mindless turnovers. And credit to Joe Brady, at least so far, he's gotten those out of his game this year. Because yesterday was not what they had been doing, which is not throwing it much, running a lot, not a ton of stuff for Josh to do as far as the throwing game. He was winging it. He had 4 touchdown passes, obviously, in the first half. He was throwing that thing like he does at his best. And I think getting rid of Diggs, and this is a little different from Tyreek, I don't know that he certainly wasn't the type of problem Diggs was. Now Josh, and he may have alluded to it in the press conference, but now he's just throwing it to the open man. Whether it's Khalil Shakir, Keon Coleman, a tight end,
and it's not as many bombs either.
Right.
It's
just but I think he's playing free without worrying about, I got to get the ball to Stephon. And I want to say something about Diggs, because he's probably going to take a lot of digs right now, or after this. He did help Josh.
Oh, yes.
Right? So no matter what happened the last year and this season, when he got there, Josh Allen needed a great receiver, and he helped lift Josh Allen to the next level. So I want to credit Diggs for that. But his histrionics, all that on the sideline, I'm sorry, there's no way that doesn't get on your nerves. And I think that you look at their vibes now, they seem to all be in love with one another now. And I think that's a credit. We know Nick McDermott's going to have a good defense no matter who's out there. They've been protecting Josh. He's only been sacked twice. The run game's great. The pass game's great. Right now, they look like the best team in football, period.
Okay.
What, Wiles?
Maybe.
What?
Beat the Cardinals, barely. There's 2 pass interference calls there that didn't get called. You could have lost to the Cardinals. You beat the Dolphins. You were rolling the Dolphins.
They were rolling the Dolphins.
You're rolling the Dolphins.
Game,
yeah. That game was over, no matter if Tua stayed in the whole game.
Yeah.
And the Jags are in free fall. So but there is not, oh my goodness, the Chiefs beat the Ravens. That is a solid win. The Bills don't have anything like that.
Which
on
is,
their schedule.
which
they
is
got
also
the Ravens
why
next.
I don't think they look like the best team in the league. I think the Chiefs look like the best team in the league, and the Chiefs are the best team in the league. But I think if you get a soft schedule, crushing folks is a good way to go about it. And they didn't crush Arizona, but they did move the ball at will.
And in the second half,
and Miami,
one
of the things lost in the discourse after the Miami game, because we were all so concerned about Tua, was 2 things. One is Miami and Tua looked awful in that game, and the other was the Bills doing whatever they wanted offensively.
Yep.
So the reason this Bills thing feels a little more sustainable is because Josh is not turning the ball over, which, again, I don't think he's going to go to 0 but it hasn't been reckless.
Yeah.
And I know you guys laughed at me when I said I thought everyone was talking about Keon Coleman. I thought Khalil Shakir is the type of receiver Josh Allen can do damage with. The Bills' offense right now, if they think Josh can get through, there are 2, I guess, potential storm clouds looming. One is playing the Chiefs in the playoffs. Take that aside, because Mahomes isn't going to go 8-0 in his career against Josh in the playoffs. He'll get him at some point once. The other one is, can Josh play 20 games of this style? Because he is running the ball. He is putting himself out there. If he can, the Josh Allen scramble is still one of the 2 or 3 most dangerous plays in football. And right now, this offense is just
they're going to be tested right away. They got Baltimore next week.
So
and that's how they can win the September championship.
Ooh, more on Josh. MVP update. Josh has climbed into the top spot, followed by Mahomes, then C.J. Stroud, then Lamar. Rodgers and Hurts tied for 5th. Here's the statistical comparison between Josh and Patrick. Josh leads the NFL in touchdown-interception ratio and passer rating. So does Josh deserve to be the MVP favorite?
Yes. I mean, right. And by the way, right now, Mahomes, I want people to understand this if you're not a gambler. This is not saying, hey, here's what the MVP voting would be right now.
Right.
It's a projection. And so Mahomes is only in second because Vegas thinks the Chiefs are going to be awesome continually and Mahomes' numbers are going to bounce back. Because he doesn't have second place MVP numbers right now, but people think it's going to give